Welcome to the Self Heal with Liz podcast, where the door is wide open to the infinite potential of possibilities. I'm your host, Luscious Liz. So get ready to thrive while we follow what feels charming on the playful path of intentional living. In this episode, we break down the acronym Follow What Feels Charming with my client, Maiorano. Since we both experienced the death of our significant others, he was open to learn tools to help him navigate his own grief out in the real world. Enjoy! Introducing Rod. How do you say your last name? Maiorano.
But my stage name is going to be Roddy Rod.
Roddy Rod? You mean from high school? Your high school name?
It started in the restaurant. The restaurant I was working at, we did that to everybody's name.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
So it would have been Lizzie Liz.
Oh, I love it. Well, that's little Lizzie is my inner child, so. Okay, and then just a quick recap. How long have we been working together?
Is it either 2020 or 2021 then?
I would say 2021, yeah. And what was the original reason why you reached out to me? Do you remember?
I wanted to try yoga.
Okay, perfect.
And I think I also found out that you were doing meditation, so I thought these are the two things I want to try.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And so I went by, you had nothing but 5-star reviews. So I took my chances with you first before I looked up, at other places. But then sometimes I just find who I want on the first try.
And actually, I remember one of our first calls that you told me about Christina. Christine?
Uh-huh.
Christina.
Yeah, you had it right the first time.
Christina. I don't know why I always forget, but
everybody that calls her Christine always forgets it's an at the end.
Christina. Okay.
Yeah.
So your wife Christina passed away, and I remember when you shared that, I was like, I lost Michael in 2010,
right.
And so there was immediately
that bond.
Yeah, where we get it.
Yeah, we had that shared experience.
For sure. So I just wanted to what do you remember, what maybe you were struggling with the most at that time?
Everything.
You were working at a tax place, right? You had your own business.
I had my tax place, so I had to work remotely, and my daughter had to do schooling remotely. And so that was a disaster.
And you had a tax business for how many years?
Since 2013.
Okay. And how did that tax business made you feel when we started working together?
I hated the business. I wanted to get out of the business. My clients, as much as I loved them and as much as they were loyal and supportive of me, were a big pain in the butt. And I got frustrated. I was tired of bailing everybody out of trouble all the time because I had my own troubles and nobody was helping me. Mm-hmm. I'm not putting blame on my clients for that, obviously.
Right.
I was putting on more, and I reached my maximum weight, which was frightening because I was way overweight now. Way miserable. I was completely miserable. I felt physically horrible, and we still didn't know if COVID was going to wipe out like the masses. Mm-hmm. So I was living like I could die any day.
Did you fear death?
I'm sorry, did I what?
Did you fear death then?
Did I fear death? I feared leaving my daughter behind.
Yeah.
That was my biggest fear. And so I took the vaccine, I wore the mask.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take any chances.
Yeah, totally.
And I had all the high risks. I was in my 50s, I was way overweight. So I was a high risk that if I got COVID, I would die.
Gotcha.
Although I have to say, in my family, our genes, between my mother, my father, and my mother, our genes, we are strong people. Like, it takes a lot.
Oh, yeah? Wow, okay.
kill us off.
Well, shout out to your parents then.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
For the good genes.
My father, and I'll just say this since we're recording, Dad is now 93, Mom is 85.
Gotcha.
And it's also a credit to my mother's cooking that my father's still alive as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to, I even remember you having pain walking and your knees.
Right, and that's why we had to stop the yoga.
Yes, that's right.
Because I had to go to then I had to go find a physical therapist.
Gotcha.
And and I was lucky I found both of them.
Yeah, and in between working with those people for your physical health, you still continued to work with me on your mental and emotional health.
So we kept the meditation in, but we switched out yoga for therapy, mental therapy.
Yes, totally.
Which I was totally on board with.
Love that. Yeah, I remember you're like, she's my meditation coach. Right? I taught you how to meditate, which is really just paying attention to what you're focused on.
Yeah, and I will say this, because I'm remembering, so I have to remember to say it. It's in my head.
Yeah.
I did go to, when my wife passed away, I did go to a grief counselor who was amazing, but he did not give me tools to deal with my grief outside of our sessions. So I would carry stuff with me and then go to the session and we'd work on it and it would help, but then I'd go back out and then I didn't have any. And the difference was when I switched to you, that you gave me tools to use all the time. Those tools worked all the time.
Yay.
Oh. That was the major shift change for me. Since I will just say that it's subconsciously ingrained in me.
Love that.
And so I deal with things now in a way I couldn't deal with them before you helped me. You know what the tools are, so if somebody needs those tools, you're going to give them to them.
Okay, so here's...
I can only tell you the results because that's what is in my mind right now. It's another 100%. Thing for anybody listening. I'm in my 50s, and I'm a single dad. So my memory's been affected in such a way. It's a little harder for me to remember things now, and I used to remember everything. Now I don't remember quite as well. I'm not mourning it. I'm rolling with it because everybody else tells me they're going through the same thing. It's part of life.
As you said, you're rolling with the punches.
So like in other words, when something comes up, I subconsciously, even though I can't say what I remember, what we talked about, it's subconsciously in there,
100%.
and I use the tools. I can't put a name on it.
Yes, gotcha. Okay,
I'm definitely a different person because it's not just helping me with the grief; it's also helping me to say, hey, I have to stop self-deprecating myself. And so what I'm trying to say is the tools you gave me didn't just help me with the grief, the mourning, the loss of my wife, but aside from that, on the other side of things, just me in general, I had to make a lot of scary life choices, and you gave me the courage and the confidence to believe in that stuff, because the things and I'll just explain what that is. I have a business. I owned a tax business. That was security. That was security. And I sold my business, and now I do not have security. I've totally thrown myself out there with no net underneath. There's no net. And I just decided I'm going to do it. The alternative was to stay in a business that was making me miserable and giving me, physically breaking me down, mentally and physically breaking me down, making me a poor parent. And also, no matter how much money I was making, it was never going to be enough money to justify what it was doing to me physically and mentally.
Wow.
So I had to give up security, and anybody will tell you it's the stupidest thing you could do is sell your tax business, because it's a great business. It's recession proof. You're your own boss. There's a million reasons why I should have done it, and I did it anyway. And I know it's not a popular move, or somebody would say it's not a smart move, but I'm living in the moment, and in this moment, I'm so happy I don't have to field any phone calls or emails from those clients.
Yeah, totally.
It's the thing is, I feel better about myself than I ever have before. So I have more confidence to figure out what the next step is, as opposed to just freaking out that I haven't figured it out yet.
Yep, totally. And one of the tools was creating a bhavana.
Yes.
Right? So a bhavana is basically a dream board in written form, and you're writing it in the present tense. So I remember I had you write that out when you were wanting to sell your business.
Yes, and now we have to do a new one.
You get to do a new one.
Yeah, I have to update it. So I actually wrote in my notes that I was gonna bring that up to you.
Oh, so, perfect.
Yeah. So now we brought it up. That's good. That is something that we have to do on one of these future calls.
Perfect.
I have to bring it up to date.
Okay, so here is a recap of the tools. Okay, I say follow what feels charming. So the C stands for curious in the present moment. Are you doing that?
Yes. I don't know if I'm going to remember what I said before, but yes, curious. I remember saying I complain that this generation is not curious. And I'm be curious by engaging complete strangers within reason. I'm not saying they'll go up to any stranger.
Right.
Obviously, within reason, I'm going up to everybody and engaging them to find out about them, but also to make sure that I leave them with a smile. If I go somewhere and I see people, I know everybody's miserable at their job. I know this. I don't compound the problem for them. I'm the person that comes in there and pats them on the back because nobody else will. That's what I've been teaching my daughter. I've been teaching her, be curious of people. Yeah. Meet people, engage them, and always try to make them feel good because they are miserable where they are. And so nobody else is doing this. So that's why your father's doing that. I'm doing this because nobody else will. So I'm teaching you this, and I want you to be proud of your dad. Yes. So that's the curious.
Love that. And instead of projecting in the past, you would project your frustrations on her, and now what are you doing?
Now when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I say is my daughter is my number one priority. And because I do that's my way of telling myself, treat her with soft, what do we say? Treat her with soft boxing gloves. What's that saying? You know what I'm trying to say? Treat them with soft.
Well, it's mainly about you are softening. You are being calm. You are not expressing your anger, and that is offering her an opportunity to also mirror that.
Right, and she sees that, yes, we could possibly live in harmony instead of drama all the time. Right. Even when we disagree or don't get what we want.
For sure. Okay, so then the H is happiness focused. Are you doing that?
Yes. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Yesterday doesn't exist. The only thing that exists now. I'm living in the moment, and in this moment, I have everything that I need. Therefore, I am happy and grateful.
So good. Okay, and then the A is abundance frequency. So living in abundance versus lack. Are you doing that?
Right. So that's what I meant when I said I have everything I need. What did I say originally about the happy?
I don't remember.
I said something else about the happy because now I'm really abundance is where I say I have everything I need. Happiness is I said happiness. It doesn't matter what my obstacles are. I'm still happy.
Yes.
Right? That's what I said.
Yes, and that even though you might have obstacles, you can you just handle them, and you're just like, okay, right. Let me get back to happy.
I live in the happiness. I don't have to use something as an excuse to not be happy.
Yes, love that. Okay, and then the R is responsibility of self, so no one else is responsible for how you feel.
Yeah, I am taking care of myself physically and mentally and spiritually. And because I'm doing that, I feel more self-confident than I ever have, and I'm paying that forward to everybody that I meet. And I take responsibility for myself, and because I'm taking responsibility for myself, I feel like I'm getting things accomplished, and that's making me feel better. And because I'm feeling better, I'm paying that forward to everybody else.
I love that. Perfect. Okay, so the M is magic in all things. Just seeing magic everywhere. Like everything is magic. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So the best way I can say that is there are no coincidences.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you see me, I have a really great example that I just remembered.
Okay, perfect.
So my wife that passed away, basically her family, they kind of feel like they see her whenever they see a monarch butterfly. And I kind of adopted that. And there were times when, we would see a monarch butterfly in these weird moments that, like, made us think of, my wife, Christina. Like if you would think something or do something, and then it's like, whatever, somehow or other, that monarch butterfly would appear at a moment to maybe affirm a thought or a feeling that we had connected to my wife, right? Okay, where am I going with this? So, last couple weeks ago, I was sitting outside in my driveway in the table chair that we have outside.
Yeah.
Picnic table, whatever. I don't know what the hell you call it. And I noticed there was more hummingbirds around the house lately.
Nice.
And so, as a joke, there was one hummingbird. So about 50 feet away from me, there was a hummingbird at one of my plants, and I noticed that this plant had attracted a lot of hummingbirds. Well, there was one that flew by, and I was sitting at the table. I noticed it fly by me and go right to the plant and start, doing whatever they do when they go to these plants, sticking their beak in there or whatever. Yeah. And so I laughed to myself. I was like, "Oh, a lot of hummingbirds lately, right?" So out loud, I said, and I was talking to my wife out loud. I said, "What did you do, Christine? Did you switch from monarch butterfly to hummingbirds?" Right? I swear, I'm not exaggerating. I said that, it came out of my mouth, and right as soon as I said it, it's as if the hummingbird heard that, and no hummingbird has ever done this. It flew to me and hovered in front of me and started mocking me. And then it gave me the eye, and then it flew away. What the hell is that? I'm not suggesting that was my wife.
Is that something
that my wife is a hummingbird?
Well, is that something she would have done?
This might sound crazy, but maybe there's a scenario in the world of magic where she summoned a hummingbird to fly in my face, as if to say, "I'm still here, baby. It's been 7 years, but I still got my eyes on you." But you understand? But like, what? Hummingbirds don't fly up to you and then hover in front of you.
No, they don't.
But they especially don't do it when you end a sentence. I said, "What did you decide to change into a hummingbird now?" And then it flew to my face. I'm not saying 5 seconds later, 10 seconds later,
Yeah.
Immediately, as if it was responding to the question. And it hovered in my face, and it was like saying, "Ha ha," and then it flew away, and I'm like, "What the hell just happened?"
Magic. It's
magic.
An interaction between the realms, right? Like
and for me, I always say this. Yeah, it could have been a coincidence, but what if it's not?
Right.
And I'm interested in the what if it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the it's only a coincidence.
100% love that. Okay, so that was a great example. Okay, so then the I is intuitively guided, right? Would you say you listen to your...
I trust my instincts more now than ever.
Yeah, love that. Like when you make decisions, you don't question them?
Not anymore.
Love that.
Not only do I trust my instincts, I also trust my instincts when I say to myself, don't necessarily trust all your instincts. Like, you know what I mean? Because you can be right most of the time if you trust your instincts. Once in a while, we are wrong. Yeah. So I trust my instincts, even with the knowledge that sometimes it might be wrong, and don't be afraid to tell yourself it might be wrong, because I trust myself enough to know that if it is wrong, I'll figure it out.
Yes, so good. Love it. Okay, here's N, is non-attachment practicing.
Okay, you'll have to describe that one to me.
Okay, so when you have a desire, right, would you say you 100% know that it's possible?
Yes, I know that. If in my past, when before I let all my what's the word we want to use, before I let all my my perceived psychological problems overcome me. Wait a minute, bring that word back to me. I'm sorry. I know where I'm going with this, but you just got to remind me of the word again.
Okay, so
non-attachment.
Yeah, non-attachment.
Okay. Yes, in the past, I definitely noticed, before we met, I definitely noticed that when I fully focused on something, I could make it come true. Like, I could manifest. Yes, I believe in manifestation. Then I hit a point of low self-confidence, low self-esteem, and I stopped trying to manifest. So I am back to knowing, I'm back at the point where I know I can manifest something if I really want it. And I also know that if something's not meant for me, don't take it personally, move on.
Non-attachment, right there, exactly.
Right there. I'll give you a little cute little manifest. It hasn't manifested yet, but it's a work in progress. Okay. But I think anybody that hears this will appreciate this.
Yeah.
So going back to me saying that I'm engaging everybody, because I'm engaging everybody for the first time in my life now, I'm not afraid to walk up to somebody I find attractive and start a conversation with them, right? As I was saying before, we were talking about Lululemon, Lululemon, whatever, that example.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a funny example, and it's not realized yet, but I'm getting there. At my bank, there's this beautiful woman there. She started in January. She's a bit younger than me, okay? So there's that problem. But I think she's very attractive, and she's a foreigner. I'm attracted to foreigners. That's another podcast. Okay. I love Spanish women. I love ethnic women. I always have. Anyway, so that's why I was attracted to her. She's not from here. Yeah. And me, because I was raised by immigrants, I think this will make more sense to everybody. Yeah. I was raised by immigrants. It's from very easy for me to connect with somebody that wasn't born in this country, even if not the country my parents came from. Right. Which is why I got along well with my wife, Christina. She was raised by Greeks. You know, so we were both Mediterranean. But we had that common, you know. Yes. So, and my wife was white. So she was the anomaly. What's that?
Anomaly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. She was like, you know, my wife was that person that every guy that met her, immediately the first thought was, I want to marry this woman. Wow. Like, she had that energy. You knew as soon as you met her, you wanted to marry her. That's what happened to me. So she was an anomaly. Yeah, she didn't have all the characteristics I typically look for. Not characteristics, personality-wise. Characteristics physically. She was a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But you know, I prefer olive skin. She had very white skin. You know, it didn't matter. I loved her so much. I didn't care what the color of her skin was. Okay, so now that I've said that, where am I going with this? A woman at the bank. I liked her because she was a foreigner, whatever. Okay. She was very uptight. Now it's a bank, so if there's that corporate, you know, culture, right? She's very uptight, and because I'm feeling this is something I can do only when I'm full of confidence. I can't do this when my confidence and my esteem are low. I can only do this when I'm feeling good. I know the possibility of me and her going out together is completely remote. Okay? Because I'm probably not her type, right? There's a big age gap between me and her. I'm not familiar with the customs of whatever country she's from. Like, I think I know where she's from. confidence. If I were to ask her out and she were to reject me, I would go home with my tail between my legs and beat myself up. The non-attachment thing, I don't care anymore. So I don't care if I don't get her phone number. I don't care if she goes out. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to make her laugh. I'm going to make her get to know me. And what's going to happen is she's going to become attracted to me.
Yeah.
All the women in my life, all of them that I loved or had like a big relationship with, I had to play the long game with all of them. I didn't go up to any, like my wife, I didn't go up to her as a stranger and ask for a phone number.
Right.
I knew her for a year before we started to go together. I played the long game. I was in love with her for a year. I knew I wanted to marry her for a year. But, I waited patiently, and when the moment presented itself, I pounced, and it was the best years of my life.
Yeah.
Going back to the banker. So I know this is a situation that but here's the thing. I use that to fill my, I'm not going to kill myself if she doesn't agree to go out with me, right?
Right.
But the point I make is, I don't care. I'm going to make it about, you're going to get to know me whether you like it or not. Every time I went in the bank, I always busted her balls. Is it all right to say that on the podcast?
Yeah, it's fine.
I did it in a way where I was letting her know that I was very, very attracted to her.
Oh, okay.
So it's a fine line. Like, I'm letting her know, like, I'm flirting with you.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it in a way that you don't expect, which is I'm trying to make you, when I come in through the door, your first instinct is, oh, this pain in the ass again. Right? Right? I'm playing it opposite. I'm doing this opposite.
Yeah.
Opposite way of what you would normally do.
Okay.
So the one thing, remember we were talking earlier, if I don't know you and I don't know anything about you, how do I engage, how do I initiate a conversation with you, right? You know what I did with her?
Right.
I don't know anything about her. I kept making believe that I couldn't remember how to pronounce her name, and that pissed her off.
Oh.
And I kept doing it every time, but she didn't realize I was using that as an excuse to start a conversation with her.
Oh, clever.
Yes. So I'm frustrating her, but at the same time she can see that I'm clearly flirting with her. Right? Okay.
And are you leaving her with a smile?
I'm getting to that. So I noticed, so every time I came and I saw she's like trying to avoid me, right? And I know it, and I'm loving every minute of it. Whereas the old Rod would have been like, oh, why doesn't she want to be with me? Confident Rod is perfect. She's falling right into my trap. So I finally decided this is the day that I'm going to. What did I do? Okay. So one time I went in and I came in with a game plan. I said, I'm going to go up to her, right? And she's going to get frustrated. And I'm going to say, guess what? I finally remembered your name. And then when she asks, I'm going to, so here's what I did. So I went up to her. She's typing away on the computer, right? She sees me coming, and I can see her eyes rolling in her head, right? So I go up to her, and I said, I finally remembered your name, right? So she lets out a sigh and a breath of air. She's like, she pauses what she's doing on the keyboard. She turns to look at me, and with a really stern face, like she's really pissed off, she goes, what is it? And guess what I said to her?
The wrong one.
I said, Mrs. Maiorano.
Oh, wow.
She peed her pants.
Wow.
Peed her pants.
Like laughing?
Laughing.
Oh, my God.
Laughing. And now that I knew I had her, I followed up immediately with this. I said, I could sit in that chair all day and just look at you smile.
Oh.
And the smile on her face, and I went, I did it.
Oh.
It took me 8 months, but I finally broke her. And now when she sees me, she gives me the sexy wink.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, now I haven't gotten past that yet. It's a bank. You know, it's a place of business. It's a, you know, I can't just go in there and be Rod, you know, the creative liberal nut, you know, whatever. I still have to show some kind of respect.
Mm-hmm.
But, I forgot to tell you what she said when I said, this is Maiorano, even though she was laughing.
Yeah.
Then she followed up with, you know what I'm going to call you? And I said, what? She goes, the idiot. And I knew that was coming from love, and not love, but from like, and not from, like, she wasn't really calling me an idiot.
Right.
She was giving it one last try to discourage me, in other words.
Well, in another word, she's flirting back.
Right. You understand what I'm talking about.
Yes, of course.
I didn't take it as, why did she call me an idiot?
Yeah.
I went, yes, she called me an idiot. I mean, well, think about it. It's a bank. You cannot call your customers idiot.
Oh, right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So when she called me idiot, the light went off. I went, I've got her. And that's when I said, I'm going to sit, I want to sit there and just look at you smile all day. And then, yes, the follow-ups have been, she's giving me winks. I haven't been in there long enough to, like, really talk to her. And I don't want to be over-eager either, you know? Like, if this is working, and, I mean, have you ever heard of, you know, I know there's different ways of getting people, you know, whatever, to engage in stuff, but, like, this is me with confidence. This is not something I can do. I can't do this when I don't have confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have to really be in a good place to pull off that kind of a stunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, but this is just one example. I mean, again, hundreds of other examples, but I'm just using the easiest one. And I chose this one too because it's not a complete project. It's still a project, and it's still in progress.
Yeah, we'll have to follow up with you about that one.
Yeah, well, I haven't been going to the bank very often, but that's good too because I don't want, like I said, you know, I can't go in there all the time, you know, balls to the wall. Like sometimes you have to just go in and be, you know, in other words, sometimes you have to go in there and tone it down.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't go in there every time and be so flirtatious with her.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to go in and just give her the smile and be polite and be like, oh, so, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, otherwise it gets to be too much and it gets to be phony. It's just all this other stuff. And, you know, also you don't want to think that you're obsessed with them either. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll have those moments where I'm a little underdressed and I'm a little under, you know, I'm not over the edge, whatever kind of stuff. But anyway, so that's non-attachment.
Right. Wow. So good. And I just want to end that note with, you know, you have left an impression on her. So now every time that, I bet she's thinking about you when you're not in the bank.
I hope so.
Right? Like, and then when you do show up, you know, she's just like, oh my gosh, I get to engage with someone who's like genuinely curious and you know.
And that would happen now because, like I told you, she was avoiding me. Now the last couple times I've been in there, she's engaged me.
Yeah, love that.
So, like, you know, that's like the complete, you know, that's what I was going for. That's what I mean when I say I play the long game. I don't have the wherewithal to just go up to somebody and say, I'm interested. You look attractive. Let's go somewhere and, you know, give me your Instagram. Like, that's just, it's never worked for me. And, this is really important too. And I'm sure this falls under charming.
Mm-hmm.
And charming that I've realized is I am now trusting that if something hasn't worked for me for 56 years, change it. Stop doing the same stupid stuff over and over again and either change it or find out why it's not working and work on that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's got to fall under the charming there somewhere.
Of course.
What?
And so here's G. Gratitude attitude.
Oh, we have one letter left. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I thought it was charming with an apostrophe after the end.
No, it's a charming with a G at the end.
Okay. I am fully confident right now that whenever I feel like I'm about to go over the edge, depression, you know, feeling bad, if I just pivot to gratitude right away, the depression will not make its way into my system.
You catch it before it happens.
You will catch anything negative if you remember to go back to the gratitude.
Can you give me an example?
I'm sorry?
Can you give me an example of a time you were like, ooh, and then you were like, you shifted it to gratitude, and what was your internal dialogue?
It was very recent because, like, you know, and that's why I was able to bring it up now, because it happened recently. I don't remember what it was. Oh, I think I was starting to feel sorry for myself because my father's like close to death, and there's all this craziness going on. Yeah. And then at the same time that's going on, you know, my daughter's got her issues with being an adolescent and being a freshman in high school. Yeah. And I still haven't found what I'm going to do going forward, and I felt the depression coming in. And as soon as I felt it, I went, quick, well, how do we combat this? And I went, gratitude. I'm thankful for today, and I started remembering everything I was thankful for today, and the depression didn't have a chance.
Wow. That's powerful right there.
Yeah. So, and, you know, when we started the phone call, before you started this recording, you know, I was saying all these things, these positive things, and I think now that you've heard my answers, I think you could probably confirm that I am in that area where, yeah, I'm feeling really good about things. You know, that I have the receipts.
Well, one of the things you mentioned, you are experiencing the highest level of self-love and confidence through the roof without being cocky.
Right. It's a really great thing. If you can be confident about being cocky, you know, you will attract people.
And it's almost like when you're confident in the world and how you show up, it's irrelevant of who you attract and who you don't.
Exactly.
So you're just like showing
up.
And
that's helped me because, you know, as you know, it's been a long journey for me to getting back to trying to get into a relationship again.
Yeah, totally.
It's been a very long journey, and it's funny. This is pretty important too, and I mentioned this to my nutritionist yesterday. I've lost 50 pounds, but I'm still 50 pounds overweight. But here's the difference. This is also about perception. What time is it, by the way?
It's okay. Just okay. We're a little over, but that's okay.
Because I really want to get this thought in.
Yeah.
Let me preface this by saying the first time I hit 250 pounds, everybody panicked. Oh my God, you look awful. Oh my God. Nobody was wrong, but there was this panic because I was at my maximum weight. COVID hit, and I went up to 290. And everybody was really scared.
Yeah.
Now I've released 50 pounds.
Okay. I like how you say you released it.
Let's say 40 pounds for now. Well, it's 50 because it was more than 290. But I've released 50 pounds, right? So I'm back at 250 again. But guess what? Two things. Number one, everybody tells me I'm looking great. These are the same people that were panicked when I was 250 before I hit 290.
Gotcha.
The same people are now looking at me like, oh my God, you look great. Well, when I was this weight, or the first time I hit this weight, nobody was saying that to me.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, this is the first time in my life that I've been overweight that I still have confidence and self-esteem. And that's still that I have. It's not about still. Every time my entire life, every time I've been overweight in my life, I've always lost self-confidence, always. The only time I had self-confidence was when I was in great shape. Wow. This is the first time that I'm still overweight, and yet I still love myself instead of beating myself up. Because I know I'm going to release the rest of the weight. I know I'm healthy, and I know I have tools I didn't have before.
Love that.
Yeah, so it's a perception thing, right? The 250 was a bad number. Now all of a sudden everybody's like, wow. When I say wow, I have to go, this is one more point I have to say about on that same topic. Like, women are looking at me again.
Oh.
And some of the women that I know already are looking at me like, they're not saying, oh, you look good. They're saying, oh, you look good.
Ooh.
Yeah. Again, 50. I'm not saying I'm satisfied with where I'm at.
Right.
I have work to do. Something even better.
Yeah.
But it's such a big thing for me that I'm already at this psychologically at that level, rather than having to wait for that magic day a year from now when I'm at the perfect weight. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Quote unquote perfect weight.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so here's a question for you. Before you worked with me, how much of the time did you live with your heart open, from 1 to 100?
Meaning, just expound on that.
Yeah, so living with your heart open, like feeling safe to have your heart open even though it might get hurt. So
that's the days of when my wife was walking the earth.
Yeah, so 1 to 100, how much of the time did you live with your heart open before we started working together?
I don't know if I can quantify that because it's up and down. Let's call it 50%.
50%? Okay, perfect.
Let's call it 50% because when things were going good, it was 50%. When things were going bad, it was 0. No, excuse me. You know what I meant to say. When things were going good, it was 100%. When things are going bad, it's 0. So 50.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, meaning is 50.
Okay, and now
in other words, I had reached those levels, but I couldn't get back to them anymore, and I needed help getting back there.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing that everybody needs to know is we cannot do all the things we want to accomplish in life. You can't do them on your own. You need help. Ask for help. Don't. If you're forced to do things on your own, then fine. You'll do them on your own and you'll accomplish them.
Right.
But there's help. There's resources. Use them.
Like an expander.
Excuse me?
Like an expander. So even for me, like I have my own expanders that show me like beyond what I think is what I'm capable of. And when I am being coached by them or being taught by them, it helps show me what's possible, and then it helps expand myself.
Right. Yeah. 100 years ago, I went to a men's weekend retreat, and when we first walked in there, they had asked us like, "What's your purpose in life?" And of course, nobody knew. I had an idea. I was the only one that had an idea, but that's because somebody told me to be ready for that question.
Okay.
But anyway, we found out that my mission in life, my purpose in life is, I'll tell you what it is now, but I'll tell you how it started out. My mission in life is co-creating a joyful and nurturing planet by extending the best of myself. Now, when I first came up with it, though, it wasn't co-creating; it was creating. And then one of the people that was running the thing said to me, "Well, you need help to do you need help to do anything. You can't do anything by yourself. So instead of saying creating, let's say co-creating." I said, "Okay, got it. Co-creating." And yes, we need people. We need help. We need support. There's no honor in saying no to support. Like, I'm going to do it on my own. There's no brownie points for that. Like in other words, ask for the help. It's there. Ask for it. It's been presented to you. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, love that.
And only when you can't. The only time you do it on your own is when you can't find somebody to help you with it. And you're going to be so strong anyway. You will do it.
Yeah. So
I've had to do a lot of things on my own, but I've also done a lot of things that I needed help with, and thank God I had the help for those things. Because sometimes you don't realize you can help.
That's true.
And then somebody helps you. Like, oh my God, if I had done this on my own, I wouldn't have come to this conclusion.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank God I got help even when I wasn't asking for it.
So, how much of the time would you say you live with your heart open now?
Oh my God. Well, for the past couple weeks, I'm at 100%.
Nice.
I'm at 100%, and I'm trying to continue. I'm enjoying living in that moment, in those moments.
Yeah, love that.
Because it's nice to be able to walk around and just feel like, not only feel good about yourself, but feel like, you know what? If there's a problem, I'm going to solve it.
Gotcha. Okay, last question. If you knew you only had a couple hours left to live, how would you spend those hours?
With my daughter.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you do?
With my daughter, because sorry if if I pause, it's because I'm holding back tears. My daughter and I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to my wife. And we both feel the sting of that. It stings. In her case, she had no choice. In my case, the 9/11 responders separated me from her, and they shouldn't have, because they were part of the reason why she died. And then when they finally started to do something, it was too late. And then what? Now you're going to separate me from my wife in her final moments. Yeah. So, couple hours to live. It's all about my daughter. I would just squeeze her and hug her and kiss her until she couldn't take it anymore. That's what I wish I could do with my wife.
Yeah. I love one of your pastimes with your daughter is you go up on Mulholland Drive at night and look at all the lights.
Yeah. Now we found some more drives on Mulholland Freeway and into Peggy Canyon. We found some really awesome new drives. So I'm finding new places to go for drives, and the views, because the mountains and the Pacific Ocean and Malibu, it's like it's just gorgeous.
Love that.
And whenever we can't think, like, what do you want to do? I don't know either. Okay, let's go for a drive. Yeah. Like, it's simple. It's the simple answer when we can't figure out what to do.
I love that. Okay, so I just want to acknowledge you and your willingness to be vulnerable and your willingness to ask for that help and reaching out and looking for someone. And I'm so honored that it was me, that you found me. And we've been able to work together for the last couple of years. And you sold your business and with confidence, right?
Yeah.
And now you're in this place of creativity, right? So it's like you want to create your writing, right? You're a writer, and so now we'll do a bhavana at some point around like your writing and all of that. And so I just want to acknowledge you and your presence in my life, and how every time we have a call now that we're always laughing. Like, even though you might be talking about challenging experiences that you're having, you see lightness, you bring joy to the world, and I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you. And I want to acknowledge how happy I was that you asked me for some personal advice not too long ago.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Regarding that person.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was very happy that you asked me.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter to me whether or not you actually used any of my advice. It's not. But I was happy to get involved in that way.
Yeah, and I felt safe with you and asking you for that advice, and it did play a big role in how I moved forward. So I just want to, thank you.